Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And we're so glad you decided to either watch the show today or listen to it later. We're very, very happy that you chose to be in the audience. We really appreciate your comments. It what makes this show wonderful. And we're glad to be back after 2 months of traveling and one memorial show, that was hard to do if you tuned in.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But it's good to be back on the casual side of things.
Yes.
And
Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan. Hi,
hey,
Joe. We're glad you're here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to remind everybody to tune in to Blog Talk Radio Voice of Indie podcast immediately following this show with Beam and Gary. Stay tuned as we sign off for a video on how to get over to that podcast. Coming up this Saturday is episode Rewind, episode 93 is Jeffrey Marshall. That's 5:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Central Time, and on and on and on across the country. That way, go down an hour each time zone. And
in case you don't know how that works.
When we were traveling, we became very aware of the different time zones. So I'm trying to include them a little bit more here and not just be an Eastern time zone unit here. Next Wednesday is at 7 o'clock. This show here, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, is Michelle Hansen. And she's going to introduce you to the world of seashell reading. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I remember that. I've never heard of that, you guys. And
you
know,
thought this
we're
was a
all
book
things,
show,
and we're all things paranormal. Well,
we're going to read
book about it.
seashells. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, anyway.
I don't know if that's paranormal or,
I don't either.
No, that's probably not paranormal.
And then next Thursday, August 31st, is our Haunted Campfire Tales for Tampa Bay Spirits. And you can watch it on Facebook on Tampa Bay Spirits page. And we're going to do a recap of our July 3rd investigation of the Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas. So
July 2nd, wasn't it?
This is July 3rd.
Oh, July 3rd. Yeah. You're right.
But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's recorded. So we'll still be able to see it.
It's already been done.
All right. And then in the news, we got some news here. Can we bring up the pictures here? In the news, we have Joe Conjal's Second Chances is available, I believe, on pre-order now. Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles entry for September.
Sale the 20th, right?
Yeah, on the September 20th, I believe. And it's that's something to look forward to. Go ahead and get on over there and pre-order that. It's bound to be good.
Like the cover, Joe.
Another one that's new is Maureen Morrissey's Seeing is Believing. That just came out while we were traveling, so I wanted to give that a mention. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, George Dismukes, his book came out while we were traveling too. Paradise, My Prison. It was available on Vella. Now you can buy the book, and I recommend it highly.
Oh, me too.
So we've got those things going on. That's it with the news. I probably forgot some people because we were traveling for so darn long. I'm sorry if we did, and I'll try to send me an email and let me know, and I'll be happy to mention you next week.
So Marjorie Daring says, hello all. Hi, Marjorie. Glad you're here. Joy York says, hi, Rob and Joan.
Joy.
Hi, Joy. Your compadre on our Haunted Happy Hour thing is, no, that's wrong. That was last year.
Different, yeah. Haunted Campfire.
Haunted Campfire is going to be on tonight. And then Joe Conjal said, thanks, September 18th. Ooh, whoops. I said the 20th. Right. September 18th, you'll be able to buy it. And Paul Hollis says, hi, Rob and John. Hi, Paul. So glad that you're here. Oh, okay.
All right. Well, that brings us up to date, I think.
Yes.
And shall we bring in Robin?
Yes, we should.
All right. Introducing Robin Maderich.
Hello.
Hi, Robin. We're glad that you're here.
Also known as Jo Allen Ash in her writing.
Yes.
Joe Conjal wants us to know that it's on pre-order.
Right.
Yeah, we mentioned that first, Joe, that it's on pre-order. You can order it now. And it's coming out the 18th. So that's great. So how have you been, Robin?
Good. Busy. Very busy. But otherwise I've been good.
Joe,
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Robin. And Donald Johnson said, hello, Robin.
Hello there, Donald Johnson.
Yeah. I just want to thank again Joy and Robin both for being on with Jesse, and when we did our live stream from Haunted Hill House.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was exhausting.
It was late. It was very late.
You were all exhausted. We kept you all up. Paul says, hi, Robin.
Hi, Paul.
We were there another 2 hours trying to put everything
Oh
away.
my gosh. Yeah, we had to take down all the equipment that we put up before we went on the air. So we'd been there forever. Joy York said it was fun. Yeah, it was fun for us too. I mean, maybe not the most active place we've ever been, to be honest. A little bit disappointed in our flashlight session. Usually they're much longer than that. Usually we can't get them to shut up. They keep talking. But she didn't have a lot to say. I think there was something there that was preventing her from speaking, if you want to know the truth.
I have a new appreciation for people like the ghost hunters and all the work that they did, especially in the early years, of all the equipment they put out and had to put back, and all the going through all the evidence and everything they had. Hats off to you guys. I don't think we could do it.
They now have a team in a whole week.
Yeah, they've got everybody doing all the work for them. So
we didn't have a team. It was just us.
They still work.
Well, we had a team at home. You guys. Joy York says we got to enjoy it, not have to take down equipment. That's true. It was a lot of fun. So tune in a week from Thursday, because
we'll show a lot of clips from
we'll do clips and talk about it, and you can ask us questions and
show you what evidence we did get.
Joe Conjal said, I loved it. We still need to get out your way, because I bet we can find, well, I know that you've said we can find something haunted out there, Joe. So
that NASCAR.
We love to do that. One of our friends in Tennessee texted us the other day and said, this is what happened. So at his house, and I sent him a little emoji of a ghost. Ooh, there's definitely something going on there. Joe Conjal said, Jess did a nice job explaining things. Yes, she did, Joe.
Yeah, she did. She
did. Really likes people to be educated, and doesn't like all the hype that surrounds a lot of the shows that are on TV that detracts from people really trying to investigate and see exactly what's going on. Like I said to you, Robin, in the pre-show here, I want to know what's happening. What's doing that? Like when I came running in yelling, the REM pod's going off, the REM pod's going off. And it was just a temperature change. So it was nothing. The room got a little hotter, and it was very hot. As we all know, we're in the middle of a heat wave. So the temperature went up in that room. Not at all exciting. Well, enough about that. Let's talk about your books and all the things that you would like to speak about.
Yeah, well, the third book came out last month, and that's it right there. There's no glare on that one. So I was going to read from it. And I also wanted to explain after that about some upcoming news for the series.
Okay. So, did you want to read from this one or your first one?
No, I'll read from that one.
All right. That sounds really good.
Okay. Of course. And there's no real spoilers or anything. So anybody who hasn't gotten this far isn't going to be like wanting to smack me or anything. Okay. Should I start now?
Yes.
Sure.
Go right ahead.
Oh, wait a minute. We had this discussion in the pre-show too.
Yes. Glasses.
On with the glasses.
Safety glasses.
Yes.
In case you get reading so fast.
That looks good. You look good in glasses.
Thanks.
Fire.
I think I look a little like Diane Keaton in my glasses.
Oh, that's a good thing to look like. She's one of my faves.
I do like her. I do like her.
Oh, me too.
Okay, here we go. Chapter 1, Grace. War had spread across the provinces and we were being hunted down. This fact could not be denied. Yet, in the precise moment a projectile flew straight at me, my thoughts went from the vast array of dangers to something more imminent. Something which, despite my warrior's reflexes, I found myself unable to avoid. Ow! I glared at Wren and wiped icy wet splatter from my cheek, rubbed the stinging tattooed flesh where the thing he dubbed a snowball had struck me. The midnight blue warrior's mark provided a good target for him, a place easy to pick out through the spiraling white flakes, easy to hit with the rough sphere. He had lobbed one already at everyone else, except Risa, of course. I knew he did not dare. Before I could say anything to him, another ball whizzed past my head, coming from behind me. It struck him square in the nose. He danced back, howling, his hands clapped to his face. After that, Wren's pranks degenerated into an all-out battle among the boys and Hannah. Karina, Risa, and I wisely stepped from harm's way. Karina, with her island heritage, felt the wicked cold more than the rest of us. For the first time since meeting her, her nearly white flesh showed a little color, but not in a good way. Suffused with blood in a reaction to the frigid temperatures, any skin not covered seemed shaded in an odd purple like misted paint. Fortunately, not much remained exposed. The night before last, we had cut up our blankets to wrap around our heads, our faces, our hands, to shove piecemeal inside our clothes and tuck around our feet inside our boots. We weren't going to use them again for sleeping. They did not provide enough warmth for that. Better to use them where they could do the most good. Born and raised in the desert provinces, I ran a close second reaction to the cold air and spinning snowflakes. Wren and Hannah were the only two who had ever seen this frozen precipitation, which made sense given where they came from. Duncan, Micah, and Risa were from Riley, the gambling moon, where, according to Duncan, only one season existed. I could not imagine such a thing. I liked the changing seasons, albeit changes far less drastic than what we had started experiencing here. Duncan performed an odd little twirl over to my side, dodging a thrown snowball. He bent to squint at my cheek, lips compressed, jaw jutting forward. All right there, Grace? Yes, I said, and shoved him away before a flung ice ball could miss him and strike me instead. Are you really all right? Karina asked. I nodded. She had not been referring to the snowball, I knew. Karina glanced at me again and away. At some point, you're going to have to tell them. Beside her, Risa had taken a step forward, brows lowered, frowning at the packed ice hurtling through the air. I'm surprised Hannah hasn't already, I said. She doesn't have a full understanding, and I've explained nothing to her, said Karina. It's your responsibility. I sighed. I know. For the past 3 days, Skelly had been silent in the crystal to which I had consigned him, snug in the bag hanging from its silk cord around my neck. My hand almost went there, almost lifted to touch the place of my jacket behind which the bag lay. Clenching my fingers into a fist, I kept them by my side. My friends had every right to know what I carried because it endangered them as much as it did me. Skelly endangered everything. I needed to know why. I needed to know how. I needed to know what could be done to save him or to stop him. Is that long enough?
Excellent. Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
That was excellent. George DeSmook says, I'm here, just got here, had to take Nadine to the dock. I hope that she's okay.
Yes.
But we're glad that you're here now, George. And Paul Hollis says, powerful opening.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was a very powerful opening. I was wondering if you could explain to us, and let me put up all of your covers, okay?
Okay.
Not all at once, one at a time. The Shadows We Make, number 1.
Okay.
Thrice-Gifted Child, number 2. And The Sleeping Myth, the one you just read from, number 3. And for those of you who are just listening, every single cover has this beautiful blue crystal in it. So Do you want to explain that, or is that going to be too much of a spoiler if you explain why there's a blue crystal?
Trying to think if it would be considered. Well, actually, I won't give a lot of detail, but Grace has an orb that she received from her brother that she feels it has been imbued with old magic, and it's broken at some point. And those crystals end up being a very important part of the story in various locations.
So that would happen in book number 1, The Shadows We Make. Okay.
And it carries through all of them.
And your target audience is young adult, but is it available for everybody? I mean, would everybody enjoy it?
Yes. So far, everybody, a young adult or adult, yes. I mean, I like The Hunger Games, which is considered young adult.
That's
I like
right.
Harry Potter, which goes from middle grade in the beginning up to young adult. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Twilight, the whole Twilight series. That was young adult.
Mortal Bones.
Yes. And Shadow and Bones. The other, yes.
That whole series is supposed to be young adults, and I've read every single book.
Yeah. So it's just when you, the characters are all young adults. I mean, there are adults in the story too, but the main focus is on them and how they interact with the world around them. And even though there is some interference based on the adults around them, it's the story of them and how they cope and how they move forward and the different problems they face and the changes they go through. So it's
called the Shadow Journey series, right?
Yes.
Okay. And even if we're not young adults now, we used to be.
That's right.
And really would like to have those bodies again. At least I would. Joy York says, great reading. Sounds exciting.
Thank you. And I know, thank you.
Joe Conjal said, sounds great. Nice reading. You were going to say, I know.
That Joy read the first one. And yes.
And Joe Conjal says, all the covers are terrific.
Thank you.
Joy York said, yes, I read book 1 and loved it. That's great.
She did a very nice review. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. And Joe Conjal says, young at heart, Joan. Yeah, well, some might even say childish.
I think we all remain young at heart. I really don't think anybody actually emotionally or physically, unless something happens, gets old.
Right.
I think no matter where your body goes.
The same person that you did when you were 18,
Yeah.
I'm still in here.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're dragging that old body around and giving me a hard time about. I want to just get going.
Exactly right.
Why don't we take our first break?
Okay.
It's about that time. And when we come back, we'll talk some more.
Yeah, talk some more. We'll go start at book 1.
There you go.
Talk about any news that you might have.
All right.
Okay.
Stay tuned, folks.
It's 1919. Back from the war in Europe, Eric Lasko returns to Floodwood Station, Ohio, the small coal mining town he calls home. There, he faces new foes. One poses a threat to his personal long-term relationship. The other is lurking in the adjacent Hocking Hills State Forest, a vicious, incredibly lethal beast driven by bloodlust. An 11-year-old girl and an old man have seen the creature, but no one believes the claims of a young child and a known drunk. When the first body is found, Eric, his father and brother, become suspects in his grisly death. To clear himself and his family, Eric must prove the beast exists. As the gruesome body count rises, the immigrant miners realize what's stalking their town. Every country calls it by a different name, but the creature is the same. Werewolf. Who is it? The residents reach a conclusion, but are they right?
Mystery hovers in the Magnolia Bluff Public Library. It has nothing to do with the hundreds of suspense novels on its shelves. Caroline McCluskey is the librarian. She finds a crimson hat and a black and white poodle puppy. They belong to Esther Williams. Esther is missing. The police can't find her. Neither can the FBI. Esther's only hope is a ring of 3 women investigators who form the Round Table. The Round Table has already solved one mystery in town, but this time, a woman's life is at stake. The Doggone Diamond Dilemma is now available on Amazon.
Paradise, My Prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
And we're back.
Yes. And wow, all 3 of those books look so good.
Yes, they do.
And I'm amazed that Marjorie Deering, who's such a lovely person, can write such horror books. They're really
It's what's deep down in her psyche.
Oh, well, we write murder mysteries. I wonder what that says about what's deep down in Okay, let me bring up book number 1 here. Enough silliness. Yep, now it's hidden.
There you go.
Sorry. There we go. The Shadows We Make.
Can you give us a little recap of that one without telling the whole story?
Yes. Grace is a desert warrior. She's 16 years old, and this is somebody, I mean, if you read where they show you part of the book on Amazon, you would know this much, so I can go ahead and say it. She has refused a bonding with a very powerful man. Well, he was not powerful at the time, but he wanted to bond with her family because they are well respected, and she refused them. So war has broken out in Citadel, and she's home alone because her parents have gone to Citadel as emissaries, and she's there by herself. Her brothers have gone off. And when she's there, this is all in the first chapter, so I'm not giving it anyway. Ships land. And it ends up that the guy she has refused has actually been the one instrumental in starting the war. And it's not just, and I can say this much, I think, without giving it away. It's not just there in Citadel, it's spreading throughout the land. And so she's tried as a traitor and is sentenced to death, but he sends her to the juvenile facility on the Emerald instead, basically because, at least this is what was in my head. I'm not sure if I said that much in the book, but because he scaring her and making her think in that instant that she was going to die was only part of her punishment for him. Now she's going to have to live the rest of her life in prison. So she plots an escape with the very boy who basically betrayed her by giving false evidence. And you find out in the book what happened and why that all took place. And they plot an escape from the Emerald back to Talia, which is the world where she's from. He's from the Gambling Moon, and they have companions that leave with them, and then there's a whole story that goes with that. And I would give too much away there are creatures that you might consider. Sorry, hold on a second. Okay. That you might consider would be more, something from a horror story, but later on in future books, you find out actually where they came from. Okay, so that's book one.
It didn't come over from Marjorie's book.
Maybe in my dreams.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
By the way, Marjorie Deering goes, oh my goodness. And are you planning on doing anything new with any of your books, or?
Yes, actually, with all of them, because when the last one is coming out next year. Originally I was thinking January, but it's actually been delayed, so it probably will be March. But because that's the final, I'm going to release it in hardcover first and then trade paperback. So I decided, as previous to that, to release the other 3 in special edition hardcover books. And it ends up that young adults prefer hardcover. And which actually is good. To me, that's actually a good thing, because they I guess they prefer the whole experience of the physical holding the book in their hands. But so these hardcover books are also illustrated by me, not like graphic novels, but they have illustrations in them. The covers to the hardcovers are going to be different than the paperback. So This is the one for The Shadows We Make.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it out of the light.
We can see it.
We can see
You
it.
can see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I have 2 samples of 2 of the illustrations. There's this one. Whoops.
Very nice.
Okay.
And it also at the bottom, it has a quote that's related to. This one says, well,
Right.
maybe I shouldn't. Oh no, I should, because I did say it. It says, it was over. I would die today. And that's her when she gets the sentence that she's supposed to be killed. And then this one is another one. And where this is the orb we were talking about, the crystal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At one point, it's on the floor, and Duncan picks it up, and he's holding it, and he thinks he sees something in it, and then he decides it's just the light. So that's what that's illustrating.
Right.
Okay.
And I don't have any more printed out.
Can you show the book cover again?
One more time.
Sure.
We have the
Sure.
close-up here. Okay, there we go. Shadows We Make.
As in the crystal is in it. Oops, wait.
Yes.
In it.
Yes.
That's for the hardcover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
And I have the covers for all of them. I should have printed those out. Sorry.
Well, that's okay.
All right.
I know that one of our grandsons buys all hardcovers because he likes to collect books.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting a library, and it looks better as hardcovers instead of paperbacks.
It's a circle of life.
It's funny because sometimes I'll get a book for my Kindle,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll also buy it in hardcover because I want it in my library of books, permanently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then other ones that I know that I'm probably not going to read again or whatever, they just get the e-reader. But otherwise, yeah. So I have 2 books every, one I'm reading, and the one that I don't want to destroy in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. Joe Conchal says, love the hardcover. And
Thank
Joy
you.
York says, I love that Grace and other female characters are strong. They act as equals.
Yeah, that was very important to me because I'm not a tall person. So besides being female, I'm also not very big. And so many times in my life, it was assumed because A, I was female, and B, I was a little person, that I had no strength, that I had no, and so I was always standing up for myself. I mean, from the time when I started the 7th grade, I was 42 or 44 inches. I was really short, but God forbid you crossed me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I grew in the 7th grade to, I don't know, 4'8", I guess. So I must have been 42 because I remember it was quite a few inches and it was very painful because my legs were killing me. And then I only grew another, I don't know, few inches. I'm only 5 foot, half an inch right now, but I always thought my license says 5'1" because I'm like, yeah.
Our daughter Susan is petite also, and she was a very tiny baby. All of our babies were huge, and Susan was 5 pounds 18 inches. So she was like, I was afraid to pick her up, and she's still petite. And when she was in 2nd grade, her class went on a field trip, and everywhere they went, the teacher held her hand, nobody else's, just Susan's. And then they had to cross the street, and the teacher looked around and panicking and looking for Sue and found her and grabbed her hand and said, "Come on, let's cross the street." And she said, "I'm just short. I'm not stupid." So I know exactly how you feel because of my daughter. It's like, I'm short. I'm not stupid. I'm not weak.
I remember standing on the curb, and it's a horrible thing to say. There was just, boys were playing softball in the street, and they must have been giving me a hard time, or someone else. Usually I was defending someone else. So I got up on the curb and I called the one kid over and I punched him straight in the face.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. But when my kids did stuff like that, my first inclination was to laugh. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I know. But I mean, he had to be, I wasn't one to usually like lash out like that on my own behalf, but he must have been riding somebody else and making them miserable.
You got to stand up for somebody.
Yeah.
And Joe Conchal says, "Don't feel bad, Robin. I'm the height of the average female, LOL."
What is the height of the average female, Joe?
5'6".
Okay.
George Dismuke says, "Dynamite ain't very big either."
That's right.
Very true.
Oh, watch out.
Yeah, that's for real. And Joy York says, "Sometimes it is a good thing to be underestimated. It catches people by surprise."
That's true.
That's a really good point. And, it's so funny because I'm really emotional in I'm hearing you say that. I was never particularly short or particularly tall, 5'7", I think. Now I'm 5'6" because I'm shrinking. But I've always been very emotional, and I'll cry at lots of things. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad.
You're kidding.
I cry when somebody else is crying.
Definitely. Yeah. Anybody has to start crying, that sets me off. But I cry when I'm angry, and people would take it as a weakness, And I'm thinking, if you only knew you are this close to having your head knocked right off your neck. Oh, Donald Johnson looked it up. He said average height in the U.S. for women is 5 feet 4 inches.
Oh,
thanks, Google.
Thanks, Donald.
All right, thanks, Donald.
It was like 5'6". I thought I was average, but I guess not.
Gee, you're tall for a woman.
Yeah, I'm above average.
Yeah.
Yay.
What was I going to say?
We don't know.
I don't know. I was going to say something probably along the lines of, wanting to beat men up. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding.
Sorry. I take that back. Maybe this would be a good time to break for a commercial, our last set of commercials here. And then when we come back, we'll tell people where to find you and about what you got coming up.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
So, Donald, when we come back, we'll discuss this. He has a question. So what do we have to look forward to in the last book? We'll talk about that when we get back. Okay? Right now, we'll take a quick commercial break and hear a word from our sponsors.
Stay tuned, all.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
And we're back.
We're back.
And we're back with Donald's questions. So what do we have to look forward to in the last book?
Okay. Well, I can't say too much because those who haven't read up to that point, it would give a lot away. But I know that Donald was concerned because two characters, he was like, why did you cut them out of the story? And I said, here's a hint, I'll be back. But also, everybody sort of comes into their own because the war has really progressed. And it ends up that, that comes out in book 2. Well, anyway, I think it still doesn't give you everything, but there is one particular power behind everybody who is involved in these battles. So Grace and Duncan and Micah and Karina have a destiny that they are going to meet. And I can't say anymore.
Donald says, yay.
Okay. But I did have something else to say about the shadows we make. And this cover here, even though this is for the hardcover, if it was picture it square, it's also the cover for an audiobook that will be coming out. And I'm not
this one?
Yes, of that one. Yes, for the shadows we make. And I'm not exactly sure when, because the narrator has said that she expects she could probably have it, the whole production completed by Halloween, maybe a couple of days later. But I don't know how long the process is afterwards for it to be approved.
Sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes not. But they are very nitpicky, and So it can
so I can't say when that's coming out, but for those of us who like our earbuds in for our books, it'll be here soon. And if it goes well, then they'll all end up going that route.
That's exciting. That's exciting. People do love audiobooks. I know, like I told you earlier, Jessie and her husband both listen to audiobooks while they're working and while they work out and while they're driving. And yep. And me, I like an ebook, but I'm like you. I like to have the book in my bookcase because I like to read it.
Because that's what a bookcase is for.
No, because I like to read the books again. And,
I find it's like, the experience is different. Like when you're reading on the, like an e-reader, you're still immersed in it, but it's more like you're getting the information almost the same as if somebody had put it on your computer screen and you're reading it. You're getting what it means and you're enjoying it and everything. But when you pick up like a book, it's like you have control of it and now it's sucking you in. It's got control of you. I don't know. I like having plus it smells like paper.
Smells like a book. That is the best smell, isn't it? When you opened up the box and had your first book in it, wasn't that smell amazing? And wasn't that the most wonderful thing ever? I mean, it really is. And when I read a book, I mean, I will fall in love with the characters, You grow very fond of the characters and they become real to you, And I like to go back and visit them in the book form and how the way I see them in my head and and
the book is like their home.
Yes.
The book is like this is their house and they live in here with me.
I'm gonna take them out and visit them. And what I didn't expect was that I would feel that way about our characters that we write, that they became real to me.
Yes. And they are. They're not just like figments of your imagination. They really, because of where they're coming from in your head, in your brain, through all the forces of what and who you are over all the years have come together to create various characters. So they're not like you couldn't, I don't think, this is just my opinion, I guess. I don't think you could create a successful character if they had nothing to do with you and who you are.
Oh, I think you reveal a lot about yourself in your characters.
Yes. So you're like kick-ass heroine.
That's why I say writing murder mysteries is very cathartic.
This is how I get. Yeah, watch out. You're
always looking over my shoulder.
Be nice to you. Yeah. Joy has a question. Does their age progress or do they stay the same age?
Well, the funny thing about all of these books is that they, even though there's when the fourth one is out, there will be 4 of them. It takes place only over the course of months. So they are going to be the same age, basically the same age. They'll get a little older, but they don't like go a year and a year. It's not like Harry Potter in the next school year or, or suddenly they're nearing adulthood or anything. They're still 15, 16, 17.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Joy says she listens to audio on her daily walk. And Donald says the e-reader has allowed me to read again, eyesight being a problem in my advancing age. Yes, I understand that. Nice to change the size of type, and holding the tablet in my hand does feel like a book to me. Well, there is that advantage.
Yes.
Which is, I admit, a really great advantage.
Yes. I was reading something on my phone to my chiropractor a couple of weeks ago. I was reading him a review when I was getting ready to leave, and I'm like, oh, geez. And I'm like, getting it so I could read it.
Joe Gonchal says there are a couple of books I have the real book on my shelf, and he said, sorry, Joe. He said, I reread them yearly. And George Dismuke says, this is something I have heard every writer without exception say, my characters came to life. And he says, me too. I would love to sit down and have a beer with my favorite character. Okay, what surprised me, and I think this does speak something about who I am, is that not our, we have like multiple characters that are returning characters. It's like a team like you have. And though my favorite character isn't one of the two main characters. There are two main characters, but my favorite character is one of the little sidekicks. And I know what it is. It's because I like who she is, and she's always excited and wanting to do things. And if you ask her to test guns, she's over the moon happy to be able to go out in the gun range and shoot. Rachel is one of my favorite characters. Oh boy, that's crazy. But yeah, so I hear what you're saying, George, and you too, and every author that's listening. We all, I'm sure that's true. We have favorite characters. And
you know what it makes me think of? Did you ever see that special? It was a Christmas. It was about Charles Dickens when he was writing A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
I wish I could remember the name of it, but his characters throughout the whole movie are just appearing and talking to him and following him around. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you feel.
Cool.
Oh, I think I did see that.
Yeah,
and that's
The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's called The Man Who Invented Christmas.
And it's that's very relatable, you know.
Yes,
that's very relatable.
Yeah, looking up and one of your characters is in the corner telling you what to do, and you're like, "Leave me alone for now, would you?" Like, no, this is what comes next.
And you know, Caleb always used to say, Caleb Pirtle, who we lost recently, always used to say, if you have writer's block, it's because you are trying to make those characters do something that they would not do.
Right.
And when he first said that, it was a real eureka moment to me. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I believe that that's true, because you have invented this whole person. You've created this whole person. You know who they are, you know, how they dress and how they think and what they like to eat and all those kind of things, you know, and if you've ever watched a TV show or a movie where they have, it'd have to be a TV show. Well, it could be a movie too. It's a recurring character. If you're ever watching a TV show or a movie with a recurring character, right? And then they have that character do something that is out of character for them, it takes you right out of the show.
Right out of it. Yes. Right out of the story.
You're now saying to for me, I'm now saying to Rob, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't say that. That's stupid. You know,
I'm yelling that at the TV because I'm usually watching it by myself. I'm like, that was stupid. Why did you do that?
And it is. It's really bad. You need to keep your characters in character. I think probably it's because there are multiple writers and stuff like that for movies and TVs, and so that happens.
Especially TV series, because there's not always the same writer for each show.
No, there is not. And so then, they have a Bible that they have to go by, but sometimes they have character flaws in them where it's like, that is not how they would react. And you know how that person would react. So
George knows how that goes because he used to write characters for Gunsmoke.
Yep.
Neat.
He was Festus. So if you love Festus, you love George.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Festus.
So he knows how to keep a character in character
and real.
real.
And you'll find too in this a series, like later on after something like that happens, the next writer is trying to pull them back to where they're supposed to be.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And I think sometimes that can be the death of a series.
Yeah.
If you go too far.
People lose interest. Yeah.
They do. So we've got to be careful when we're writing a series of books. I have a question. So now this next book, you said the one that's coming out maybe in March, that it's the last one. Do you have another series planned? Do you have something else cooking up here? Somebody else talking to you saying, here I am.
It's funny. I have a series. Well, I have two in my head.
Okay.
One is something I'd have to get back to. My youngest son and I hashed through this entire series of, 12 years ago. And I started writing it. And it's more of a middle grade rather than young adult. And I would really like to go back and work on it. And the other one, because I am enamored of King Arthur and everything in that whole realm, but it's not a series. It's just a very probably long standalone book about Elaine of Corbin. And I would like to also get back to that and finish that, because I did start that. And back when I was in a writer's group, everybody was reading their stories. I don't know if you noticed how I stumbled. I used to not be able to read at all. So one of the other writers read mine for me. It was like the first chapter, and everybody was like quiet afterwards. And I'm like, was it that bad?
No, it's that good.
Yeah, it was based on what they said afterwards. Yes. Yeah. So I really need to get back to that, because that's something that's been traveling around in my heart probably since I was 12 years old, the story that I wanted to write. So I really not getting any younger. So I really should
get it done.
But you did good on your reading tonight, I thought.
Yeah. Well, I
you did real well.
I practiced several times.
Do you have a working title, or did I already ask you this?
No, you didn't. The fourth book is called, and it's funny because it's The Shadows We Make, The Thrice-Gifted Child, The Sleeping Myth, but the fourth one is In Darkness We Break.
Oh, okay.
So it's a different title, but that's because it's...
But it rhymes.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay, Joe
it has the same cadence.
So the big question, Robin, plotter or pantser?
Okay. Well, when I wrote a series for Kensington, I had to outline it because I had a relatively short period of time to complete it, and they wanted to see an outline, I guess, to make sure I was going to, before the contract was signed, then they didn't make sure I was going to be able to complete it, and so. But that is the only book I have ever plotted out. I fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah. How else can those characters tell you what they want to do?
Right, because otherwise they're like, oh, lady, what is wrong with you? Why are you trying to squeeze me into that little box? That's not where I belong.
Rachel would be like, I want to shoot my gun.
Would Rachel ever get her own story?
No. She'll always be part of the ensemble. No, we're really invested in our two main characters.
Okay.
I like that.
I'm just curious.
They wouldn't like it.
Yeah, they'd be like, hey, we're the ones that are up on top. She's just a sidekick.
Yeah.
You've heard of a writer's strike? We'd have a character strike.
Yeah. That's right.
See the little signs dancing through your head?
You know what we haven't done, Robin? I haven't put up all of your information for everybody.
Oh, great.
Okay, so here's the YA website. It's joallennash.com, and that's JoAllenAsh. And Facebook, you can reach her at Jo Allen Ash, same spelling, oddly enough. Instagram is Robin_Maderich_writes, and that's ROBIN_MADERICHWRITES. And this is for all of you people who are listening to the podcast and can't read what is on the screen here. And her blog is robinmaderich.blog. And she's also on TikTok at Jo Allen Ash YA author. So we were saying this looks like a very odd word, but it's actually JOALLENASHYAAUTHOR. So that's where you can find her. And where can they find your books? Where can they buy your books?
You can get them online, just about through anywhere online. Most bookstores can order them for you. Some, but I don't know which, have them on their shelves. So if you don't want to hunt all over the place, you're better off going online where you can get them digital or print.
Awesome. They on Amazon?
They're on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Apple, any Barnes and Noble, any physical bookstore that lists books for sale, even if they're not on their shelf. You can find the print books there. It's really neat because sometimes I look up other countries. I'm like, oh yeah.
I know, it's exciting. Joe Conjal says, have you had success marketing on TikTok?
I don't know because I haven't been doing it that long. I think it's only been 2 or 3 weeks. I have, people, the one thing is you have to make sure that you engage and you don't just like put stuff out there. So right. I waste no, not a waste. I swear it's not a waste. Actually, I do enjoy some of the things I'm looking at. I do enjoy, but it ends up sucking time while I go through and, like stuff and comment on it. And I mean, I'm happy to do it because they deserve as much attention as I'm hoping to get myself. But as far as I don't know if it's affected sales, but I have noticed more people coming to my website.
Yeah,
because it'll show, how many and where they're from. They're from all different countries. So like recently there was Ireland and Finland and Italy and Canada and the US are always there. And somewhere in the Middle East and France. So there are people from all over looking. Whether they're buying or not, I'm not sure. Although I can see stats for sales and they are selling in those places too, but that's from prior sales. I can't tell from these, these past few weeks.
It's too soon. Yeah. For the analytics to be out yet. Yeah. Well, I think that TikTok actually reaches your audience, that your targeted audience.
Yes.
So, of course, young adults, as we've said many times before, there's so many young adult series that everybody of all ages likes, and yours included. However, if you want to reach that age group, they're all on TikTok.
Right. And my cousin's daughter said, she said, Facebook is for old fogies.
That's what they think. That's exactly what they think. And if you go on TikTok, it's all young kids,
Yeah. In fact, some of the people that are following me, I'll comment on some of their little videos and like them, but I won't follow them back only because they're obviously minors, and I just don't want to
be a stalker.
Yeah. So I'll comment and everything, but I sorry, I can't follow you back because
that's why.
That is wisdom. Yes. Well, you can't follow everybody that follows you anyway. It's
right.
It's
that's impossible.
That'd be crazy town. I'd be following just from my ex account, if that's not the dumbest thing ever.
Whatever that is.
I know it makes me feel really weird for my Twitter account.
Twitter slant.
Oh. Yeah.
Or X Twitter.
X. It used to be Twitter and now it's X.
No, it's X Twitter.
Yeah, it's X/Twitter. I'd be following 18,000 people, and I just couldn't keep up with them.
Right.
But
it's funny.
Comment and
like Facebook. People will look at the Joe Allen Ash page, but I don't know who they are. And if I go over and they have nothing on their page, I'm not going to respond.
Right.
But I did respond to someone on my personal page who sent me a friend request because they were friends with somebody I knew. And then I got an instant message that said, "Miss Robin, I want to be your daughter. Delete." So you have to be careful with that stuff too, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All sorts of strangeness. Huh?
Okay. I want to be your daughter. I don't know why. Maybe explain it to me and I'll think about it.
There you go.
Maybe you should talk to my kids.
Yeah. You can change your mind after that, believe me.
Oh, this has been fun.
Yeah, Robin, it's been great having you on. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I think I covered everything that all the news, the exciting stuff coming up, and got to talk to you guys, which I always love, and to all the guests.
Yes. Well, we really love talking to you too. And without you and Joy, I think that our haunted, I'm going to say happy hour again. Why do I keep
What is a haunted happy hour?
It's a group that we belonged to for years and made really good friends there. And it was like a lifesaver during COVID, during the lockdown, when none of us could go anywhere.
Right.
And, made some really, really good friends. And it was all people involved in the paranormal. And the girl that started it has a ghost tour. She owns a company that does ghost tours, and she has a shop now in her
New Jersey,
hometown in New Jersey. And we would just each one of us would do different topics that we wanted to talk about in the paranormal. Joe Concha said, "Great show tonight. Thanks, Robin." And of course, Robin Joan. Well, thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks for being here.
I agreed. Thanks for being here. Marjorie Deering says, "Another great episode. Thanks, Joan, Robin. Thank you. Robin.
Thank you.
Paul Hollis says, "Another great show. Thanks all." Thank you, Paul. And you guys make this show great too. Without your comments, this wouldn't be much fun.
For sure.
Yeah, it makes it so much fun, I think.
All right, we're going to move you over to this side now. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Episode rewind this Saturday, right here where you're watching right now. You can catch it 5:30 Eastern time. It's Jeffrey Marshall episode 93. And then next Wednesday, Michelle Hansen right here, same place, same time, same bat channel, talking about the world of seashell.
See, on TikTok, they wouldn't know what the heck you were talking about.
I don't even know what I'm talking
Joy
about.
Joy York says, "I agree, Joe. Great show. Thank you, Joy." And George Dismuke says, "Yep, kudos. Thank you, George. Thank you all for being here and being a part of the show."
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
So, until next time.
That's all, folks.
Night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.